Today, I will talk more about the history of OMC outboard motors. But first, I'd like to invite you to use the subtitles. And if you need it, you can use automatic translator to a language you want. I also want to say a big thank you to the people who have signed up for the Boat Motors channel. It's really nice of you to be part of it. And if you haven't joined yet, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. Special thanks to those of you who support Boat Motors channel. In this episode, our journey through the history of outboard motors continues. However, before we proceed with OMC, it's worth noting that in 1979, Chrysler Marine exited the boat and outboard motors business. In the upcoming videos, we'll be dedicating a separate episode to exploring the achievements of Chrysler Marine. As mentioned in the previous episode, OMC made a remarkable investment of $100 million for modernization. Unlike their earlier practices, each manufacturing plant was carefully designed to specialize in a specific production function. Moreover, overseas facilities were optimized to reduce operational costs, enhancing efficiency in handling and storage. This strategic streamlining facilitated product innovation. Among the new features that found favor with powerboat enthusiasts were power steering, variable ratio oiling, ensuring precise fuel-oil mixtures for the engine, and saltwater protection. Notably, these innovations were introduced in response to buyer preferences. An important development occurred in 1983 when OMC initiated preparations for an advanced stern-drive engine, intended to surpass their previous models. To ensure that this new engine met market demands, the company conducted comprehensive research, engaging dealers and service staff to gather insights. This meticulous approach led to the birth of the OMC Cobra in 1985, a remarkable engine that boasted a 7.5-liter capacity and an impressive 340 horsepower output. Maintaining our chronological thread, it's important to mention that 1983 saw the marine industry bidding farewell to a true legend. Caille, a pioneer of Mercury, passed away at the age of 77. We've been primarily focusing on Mercury motors in a factual manner, reserving a deeper exploration of their historical details for future episodes. The year 1984 witnessed a transition of leadership, with James Chapman succeeding Robert Wallace as the president of OMC. Wallace's brief tenure had spanned from January 1982. Following in the footsteps of his predecessors, Chapman grappled with the Waukegan Harbor issue, a topic previously discussed. This matter was eventually resolved in April 1989 when the U.S. Department of Justice mandated OMC to establish a trust fund to address Lake Michigan's pollution concerns. On May 21, 1986, the outboard industry lost another luminary, Ralph Evinrude, who had played a major role in OMC development. He passed away at the age of 89. Strangely, Evinrude's passing marked the beginning of a downward trajectory for OMC, despite short-term financial gains. At the same time, the Japanese outboard motor manufacturers were surging ahead with relentless determination. Their commitment to unwavering quality continued to attract a growing customer base. The rising popularity of Yamaha, Honda, and Suzuki outboard motors posed a formidable challenge to OMC. By 1988, the boat market reached its zenith before descending into a downward spiral. The year 1989 saw OMC's acquisition of certain assets from Murray Industries, the makers of Chris-Craft boats. During the same period, OMC divested itself of Lawn Boy, a well-known lawn mower company, as well as Cushman, with both entities being sold to the Toro Company in ransoms, respectively. These transactions injected a much-needed $248 million in cash into OMC's coffers. A portion of these funds was allocated to enhancing boat-building facilities, while another segment went towards the creation of a new Sun Cruiser aluminum pontoon boat. This strategic allocation of resources bore fruit, as OMC's focus on boat packages, seamlessly integrated with appropriately powered outboards, resulted in a doubling of boat package sales within a year. In an attempt to secure a stable customer base for their outboard engines, Chapman made the decision to acquire 15 boat manufacturers. However, OMC's management lacked a comprehensive and well-designed strategy to effectively manage their growing operations. In the midst of the industry's most severe downturn, Chapman implemented measures such as staff reductions, factory closures, and discontinuation of entire product lines, including Chris-Craft boats and boat motors, all in vain. The year 1991 ushered in innovations in the form of smaller and quieter V6 outboard engines. The Evinrude Spitfire and the Johnson Silver Star series were introduced, featuring novel flushing devices that enabled the engine to be flushed with fresh water while operational. These models also incorporated an infrared sensor system called the optical ignition system, which automatically adjusted engine timing to eliminate undesirable changes. Additionally, 1991 marked advancements in the realm of diesel stern drive models, characterized by enhanced fuel efficiency. The OMC Cobra diesel, weighing 970 pounds and equipped with a 3.2-liter six-cylinder inline motor, delivered a robust 205 horsepower at 4,300 rpm. The introduction of electronic fuel injection (EFI) in 1993 represented a milestone, as it marked the first time EFI was available to recreational stern drive customers. Prior to this, starting carbureted systems necessitated a multi-step sequence. With EFI, boaters only needed to turn the key and shift into gear. By 1993, OMC had an extensive portfolio comprising more than 20 brands, spanning canoes to cruisers. The company's operations were organized into three distinct groups: the fishing boat group, the recreational boat group, and the aluminum boat group. Each of these divisions took charge of all aspects, from manufacturing to marketing, for their respective product lines. Brands like Stratos, Hydrosports, Javelin, and Quest by Four Winds were under the fishing boat group. The recreational boat group boasted an impressive lineup of 80 models from Chris-Craft, Donzi, Four Winds, Sea Swirl, and Sunbird. Lastly, the aluminum boat group included Aeronautic, Princecraft, Springbok, Sun Cruiser, Lowe, Sea Nymph, Grumman, and Roughneck. Remarkably, many of these brands are still active in today's market. Between 1990 and 1993, OMC experienced substantial losses, amounting to a staggering $440 million. As the boat industry began to recover from its economic slump in 1994, OMC found itself ill-equipped to meet customer demands due to significant sell-offs under Chapman's leadership. In response, Harry Bowman, former CEO of Whirlpool Corporation, was brought on board to lead OMC. In 1994, OMC partnered with Volvo in a joint venture, initiated contracts with a German firm to incorporate high-pressure fuel injector technology for improved fuel efficiency, launched an extensive advertising campaign to strengthen the Evinrude and Johnson brand names, and started work on a new generation of outboard motors that were environmentally friendly, fuel-efficient, and easily maintainable. By mid-1995, OMC's revenues reached an impressive $1.1 billion. However, the subsequent 2 years brought significant challenges, with net revenue losses of $7.3 million in the second quarter of 1997. Suspension of $2 million in dividends mitigated further loss. The previous quarter had seen losses of $14.3 million, even after asset sales including the corporate jet. To explore potential options, OMC engaged Salomon Brothers in April 1997, considering buyouts or mergers. In the same year, Detroit Diesel made a bid of $16 per share for OMC, but Alfred Kingsley, who had previously purchased 2 million shares at $17 each, outbid them with an offer of $18 per share. Notably, Kingsley had no prior experience in the outboard industry. The year 1997 saw the introduction of fuel-injected motors by OMC to comply with stringent EPA guidelines. However, the rushed launch led to numerous issues. The transition phase of operation coincided with the trolling speed of many fishermen, causing operational problems. Moreover, these engines experienced smoking, knocking, and even instances of pistons and rods exploding out of the engine block, creating a negative perception among potential buyers. To address these challenges, Alfred Kingsley hired David Jones, former president of Mercury Marine Division, in September 1997 to assume the role of president and CEO of OMC. Unfortunately, by this point, the situation had become critical. In a desperate bid to salvage OMC, Jones initiated changes, but the financial turmoil proved insurmountable. In 1998, OMC laid off 548 employees, and in September of the same year, they announced the planned closure of their Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Waukegan, Illinois plants over the subsequent 2 years. In August 2000, Jones resigned. Tragically, on December 22, 2000, OMC issued a press release declaring bankruptcy. The Johnson and Evinrude brands came under the ownership of Canadian firm Bombardier Recreational Products in 2001. Bombardier ceased sales of outboards under the Johnson brand in 2007, channeling all sales through Evinrude outboard motors until their discontinuation in June 2020. Nevertheless, Bombardier continued to support existing Johnson outboard motors through service and parts. In 2014, Bombardier introduced the Evinrude ETC G1, marking the return of the iconic brand to the market. This news brought about a mix of emotions. People remembered the Evinrude Ficht models that had played a role in OMC's bankruptcy, and there were still a few problematic engines from that time in use. The fresh and futuristic design of the new Evinrude ETC G1 caught the attention of both the public and the media. Underneath its sleek plastic covers, it housed a 2-stroke engine and a novel high-pressure fuel injection technology. This development was seen as another effort to make a 2-stroke engine that was both eco-friendly and efficient, despite history showing that previous attempts had failed. This direction surprised me. Other manufacturers were already focusing on creating 4-stroke engines to meet strict EPA rules. Promoting the new technology and showcasing the manufacturing process successfully attracted potential buyers. Surprisingly, the G1 outperformed its OMC predecessor, even though it still had some issues inherited from the first generation of the model. The introduction of the Evinrude ETC G2 later on brought renewed hope. Rigorous tests demonstrated the new technology's reliability while also highlighting potential issues. Did the health crisis of 2019 play a role in the decision to halt production in May 2020, or were there other factors? It's all speculation. In my view, the crisis might have contributed, but given the challenges of 2-stroke engines and their attempts at modernization, their future remained uncertain. Bombardier perhaps realized the difficulty or even impossibility of creating a reliable, efficient, and eco-friendly 2-stroke engine. Despite discontinuing production, I admire their bravery in pursuing the seemingly impossible. 3 years later, I still ask the question I've asked for years: why hasn't anyone tried using propane in outboard motors to reduce emissions? LPG is widely used for barbecues and in cars. This oil byproduct burns cleanly, causing minimal pollution, as evident from its popularity in European car transportation. Advanced technologies offer efficient and reliable LPG injection systems that can be easily integrated into 4-stroke outboard engines. If more power is needed, a turbocharger can even be added. Engineers have long known these possibilities. I hope that one day this affordable, eco-friendly fuel will have a significant role in the marine industry. Will it become a reality, or will we continue moving toward electric boats with pricey batteries and limited range? In our next episode, we'll embark on a journey through Mercury outboard motors history. But before we delve into that, I extend an invitation to those who haven't yet subscribed to the Boat Motors channel. Your support is truly appreciated. Thank you for joining us on this captivating journey through the world of boat motors.